Starting with Thailand, Thailand's first transgender lawmaker has been dismissed in what critics have dubbed as the government's crackdown on opposition. Tanvareen Sukhapsit's seat was revoked by the Constitutional Court, which said that she violated the electoral law by holding shares in a media company. Critics, however, said that the ruling party is using the law as a political tool against supporters of the pro-democracy movement. Tanvareen, who is a former actor and filmmaker and also a pioneer for the LGBTQ+ community, broke several taboos when she won a seat in the parliament in last year's election for Future Forward Party. But the party was dissolved in February this year, a move that escalated discontent and fueled pro-democracy activists to demand the government step down. Now, later, Tanvareen, along with other MPs, joined another party. Meanwhile, Tanvareen said that the dismissal did not surprise her and that she will continue to fight for the rights of the LGBT community. Thailand's transgender community is high profile but faces education and workplace discrimination. The country's parliament still has 3 other remaining transgender MPs. Near-daily protests have rocked Thailand's capital for months as activists demand the government's resignation and call for reforms to the powerful monarchy. Recently, the cabinet approved plans to set up a reconciliation committee it said was a bid to diffuse political tensions. And now joining us live from Bangkok is Phil Robertson, Deputy Director of Human Rights Watch Asia Division. Thank you so much for joining us. Tanvareen Sukhapsit's seat was revoked by the Constitutional Court, as you know, which said that she violated an electoral law by holding shares in media company. Could you elucidate on that?
Well, she owned shares in her own entertainment film company that was doing soap operas and advertisements. It had nothing to do with politics whatsoever. This is clearly a politically motivated attack against Tanvareen and the Move Forward party that she is part of. Unfortunately, the Thai government, instead of engaging in political warfare, has been using lawfare, using the law as a political weapon against people, and they've been using politically motivated cases like this one, and unfortunately benefiting from a constitutional court that has continually showed bias in favor of the government.
All right. Now, as you also mentioned, this is being seen as a crackdown. How do you see this impacting the ongoing unrest in the country?
Well, I think it's another indication that the government is not serious about compromising. That even though they say they're going to create a reconciliation committee, it's all talk, no action. And that behind the scenes, they're continuing to try to use every tool possible to persecute their enemies. In this case, the Move Forward Party is a reform party that's in the parliament. These are the sort of people that the government should actually be listening to find some way out of the current political situation. But instead, they're trying to marginalize them. They're trying to drive them out of the parliament. And that's just going to drive more of the protests and action onto the street instead of into the parliament where the government says it wants to be.
All right, and also this has highlighted another very major issue, that is that Thailand's transgender community still faces education and workplace discrimination. Why then would they deem this move necessary at such a crucial juncture when protesters have already been demanding reforms and the resignation of the current government?
Well, I think the government just sees Tanvareen as another opposition MP. They don't see her as transgender. Unfortunately, however, I mean, it's going to cause a blow for the effort to try to pass marriage equality and civil partnerships in the parliament. The Ministry of Justice has been promoting a law saying that they're going to move forward with this, and the government has been claiming to the European Union and others that they're being progressive on human rights because they care about LGBT rights. That's on one hand, but on the other hand, they're busy driving Tanvareen out of the parliament. So it's sort of a situation where the government, on one hand, claims it cares about human rights, but then does exactly the opposite.
All right, Mr. Robertson, thank you so much for joining us with all those details.
Thank you.